This is the story of Bob the collie, who was mistreated for 5 years. Working dogs aren't always family pets, but there is simply no excuse for the suffering he faced. But after so many years of neglect, rescuing him wasn't so simple.
We've basically been abused for 5 years. The thing with farm dogs is, generally the dogs who are good at working, good at herding, they do a good job. The ones that aren't, are quite often certain old-fashioned farmers cast to one side, chained up, left to it, just ignored. So from what I'm led to believe, he was just chained up and ignored, and also given some physical abuse as well, which is always heartbreaking to hear about. So I don't think he really had any positive experiences of life. He didn't get to run free with dogs and enjoy himself. He didn't have any outlets really, just stuck barking on a chain.
After 5 years of suffering, a good Samaritan was watching out for Bob, wanting to rescue him from his current neglect.
We got a phone call from a guy who'd rescued Bob, and this guy managed to do a deal to get it off the farmer. He still had to pay, but he got Bob. Anyway, he took Bob home, and immediately Bob ran into his spare room upstairs and wouldn't leave. He wouldn't come out, he was just too scared. He'd only eat, sleep, pee and poo in the spare room. Well, this happens with dogs who've had a really bad traumatic experience. I've seen it several times. They get into a new area like that spare room, and then he felt, I'm safe here, I'm not leaving. So he would have been quite happy for his whole world to be that room, which just shows how bad the abuse was before that. So the guy tried everything to get him out, food, sat with him, but the dog just, no, I'm sticking with what I've got, thanks. He had no interest in expanding his world, he just felt safe and stayed there. He called us when it became a problem because the landlord came round and the smell was so bad he was going to get evicted. So he needed help.
Adam is an experienced animal behaviorist who, with his years of working with rescue dogs, knew exactly how to help Bob.
And went upstairs and the room was bad. I mean, lived there for 3 weeks and he was flat out terrified. You can't just drag the dog out of the room, because if I just dragged him out of the room, out the house, across the street into my van, okay, he's in the van, he's at the rescue, but now he's got even less reason to trust me. So then from that point on, it's just an uphill struggle, and he might not trust anybody after that. So I managed to get him on lead, which took some time, and then it took about half an hour to get out of the house. Every time we took a step forwards, he bolted back into the room again. So generally I'll just sit by him, not right next to him, but close enough that might potentially be a threat, but to also prove I'm not here to hurt you. I just ignore the dog really. Generally get my phone out, do some text, and just let him see that I'm not here to put any pressure on him. And then any time he gives me an inch, he might move towards me. Okay, I'll shorten the lead and I won't let him go back that inch. And then I get uncomfortable, then he'll relax there, then we can just move inch by inch. And once we're out of the house, it then took about 15-20 minutes to get out of the garden. And we sat by my van for another 20 minutes, half an hour, just while he relaxed with every single thing, shut himself down. The world terrified him. Rescuing a dog isn't as simple as, I feel sorry for it, I think it'll do great. But that's true and that's fine, but a lot do need specialist help. And if you haven't got that special knowledge or haven't got someone who can help you with this, it's a big ask. So I got him in the van and then drove him to the rescue, and then he wouldn't come out of the van, so he's stuck in the van. So we managed to get another dog along. And then that drew him out of the van. But as soon as he just shut down again and just freeze as he was. It's heartbreaking to watch, it's horrific. But we sat with him, and again the day's ticking by. About 4 or 5 hours later, he started coming out of his shell a little bit. So we managed to get him into a kennel. And that was day one.
Adam continued to work with Bob every day, teaching him how to climb the stairs.
Bobby, come on, pal. Come on. That's it, dude. Come on. Bobby. Come on, buddy. Come on. There we go.
Introducing him to new people and other dogs. Taking him on walks. And finally, with Adam's hard work, the nervous collie started to open up.
You literally focus on the tiny little wins. So I think a big one was the first time you saw somebody and wagged his tail. That was quite cool. Then it's things like he'd only walk against sides, fences, walls. He wouldn't walk in open spaces. And then he's suddenly walking a yard away from a wall. That's an amazing win. They got interested in the dog, and all these tiny little things. So they're little, nothing to get super excited about, but you do. And then overall, it's like, this is, it's unbelievable turnaround. But at the time, you just focus on the tiny little steps. So looking back, it was unbelievable how well he came around. From 5 years of abuse, stuck on a chain, kicked or whatever, into that transition of terrified in a house, not sure what the hell's going on, then into a rescue centre. But just 3 or 4 days of calm consistency and routine with no stress and fear. He really came out of himself. But when his confidence started shining through and his personality did start coming out, he was super friendly, super excitable, and he's quite a cheeky little guy. He'd come behind and sneakily lick your face and stuff and then run off and make you play. So he was a really friendly little dog, which makes the first 5 years so horrific to think about. There's no reason for him to go through that. But now he's finally, the rest of his life is just going to be about him being the happy, great, friendly dog he always should have been.
Bob's transformation meant that he was now ready to find his forever home and was put up for adoption.
So we had a few applications for him, but the family that stood out, they just could provide what he needed. It's just another calm, consistent, regular, small steps forward, and now he's doing great. He's got a fantastic life with the family and just everything he wants, which is just a nice, safe environment he can explore the world with a family who love him. When you see a dog progress from such a difficult place to living his best life, the good thing about that is the process works. And when another dog comes in a similar situation, we know the process is going to benefit this dog as well. So it's all reinforcing for us as well. It's nice to know that there is a way forward for these dogs when they come in such a traumatized state. We know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We've just got to help get them there.
It's so important when rescuing a dog to reach out to specialists and ask for help. There are dedicated behaviourist, volunteers and rescue staff around the world that are there to give each rescue dog the time, patience and kindness they need and deserve. I'm just so happy that Bob now knows what it looks like to have people around him who love him. Do check out the links in the description and contact your local rescue centre to ask how you can do your bit to support them. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to help me help more rescue animals here on Rescue Vet. Bye for now.